holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy. Let me live my love out loud.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I love you and I love you too. That's funky somewhere. Now feel the love and sanctuary. Hold your voice and repeat after me. You know it. Come together. We come together. We come together. Oh, we come together. We come together. We come together. Person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Now feel the love and the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 Every walk of life broken, every dream unfolded. Should we ignite? God in each other. Now read each other. Say hi. Smile. Give a hug. We come together. 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 We come
Good morning. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Parker. So glad to have you this morning. I was kind of weighted toward this side today. Good to see you this morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here in Colorado, and we know that you bring your light and love here. And I love how we come together in love, right? In the name of love, and co-create this beautiful vibration together here in this space. So take a moment, just breathe into that. Breathe into the energy that's right here present as we come together in the name of love. Feeling love embracing us, feeling love radiating in us and through us and as us, and that love radiating out into the world. Because we know that love is a healing energy, a healing vibration. And so we celebrate that. We know that love is doing its perfect work in our lives and in the lives of each other and all humanity. We trust that, we know that, we accept that. And we are grateful for that, and so it is. Amen. So I have a couple of things I want to remind you of today. Next week, October 1st, I can't believe it's October already, we're going to be doing a very special celebration here during our service. We're going to be celebrating our board of trustees. We're going to be celebrating our practitioners. We're going to be celebrating this wonderful woman here, who is our new music director, music minister. And we're officially welcoming me as the minister here at Center for Spiritual. Thank you. We do ask that you let us know if you plan to be here, because we're having a catered Mediterranean meal. we'd love to have you come, and please sign up over there on the table. There's a sign-up sheet. Let us know if you're coming, how many of you are coming. We need to know that today so that we can get the right amount of food ordered for next Sunday. So I hope to see you all here. Bring your family, bring your friends. It'll be a great opportunity to get to know each other a little bit. And what else is coming up? What am I forgetting? I don't know. We do have our prayer box, which sits on the table as you leave in the back. If you have a prayer request, we ask that you fill out a prayer card, place it in the box, and know that our practitioners pray for your prayer request. And know that prayer, we believe in the power of prayer, that prayer is answered. So please take advantage of that. And as you will see, there are several people around who have white shawls, stoles on. They are our practitioners, and they have been through lots of classes and training and learning how to really be with you, sit with you, hold your prayer requests. And so if you have any prayer requests, just after service, just go up to one of them and ask. And I bet you they will say yes. They love to do that. They love to sit with you and pray with you. So take advantage of that. Speaking of our practitioners, Colleen DeVries is here this morning, and she's going to be sharing a reading with us.
All right. So how many of you ever remember the giddiness of falling in love? That exhilaration, right? It was such a blessing. And interestingly enough, when I began my path with Center of Spiritual Living, I had that same giddiness. Because after searching for so many years for a religious spiritual path I could follow, I found it. I found it here. And that giddiness hasn't left me. And I make sure that I take the time to go through some of the things that I was taught before. So today's reading that I give is actually out of one of our books that we have from Dr. Ernest Holmes. And he has a whole series. It's his extension study course in the science of mind. And I love it because it has prayers in it has meditations in it, and sometimes you ever have that day where the words just don't quite come to you. You say, I think I know what I want, but I don't know how to express it. Well, this series of books does a wonderful job on it. So if you want to look at my text stream thing because you'd like to add it to your library, let me know. But with that, let me share the words of Ernest Holmes from one of his lectures. That which goes out will again return. Why? Because everything travels in circles. This Einstein has proved. This the great teachers have taught us. Everything moves in circles. Therefore, the outflowing or the beginning of any sequence of action and reaction will have to be equal to the in-moving or the back-flowing or the return of that sequence. So let's talk about the sequence of love. In a certain sense, we can say that since what we push out must move in a circle, it must move back to its original position, and in completing the circle, reunites with itself. What we push out from this point will return to the same point from which it was pushed. Give love out, give love back. For an illustration, let us take a person who has learned that he can use the law God. If he has been more or less lonely and without friends, it's quite natural for him to start treating people to get them to like him. He might say, wherever I go, I shall be met by love and friendship. I shall be received with joy, and I shall be appreciated. He feels that his thought is going out to influence those whom he encounters. Now, he is right as far as he has gone, and he will get definite results. But sooner or later, he will discover the real secret, which is that if he is friendly, he will attract friends. If he is happy,
he will attract happiness. If he sends out love, he will be loved. He will no longer expect to influence people. His consciousness of love will have so expanded that out of the fullness of his heart, he will exclaim, I love everyone. I am in love. I am a friend to everyone. Nothing is good is excluded from my consciousness. He has set up a center within himself that automatically radiates to every circumstance in his experience, and because everything moves in circles, it will again return to you. For love is the perfect fulfillment of the law. Love implies harmony, unity, cooperation, helpfulness, and self-giving. There may be a temporary, transitory, fleeting law of hate or vengeance or viciousness, but as the sun dissipates the darkness, so love conquers hate. We are not to flee from the wrath to come, but to perceive the love that is there.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love, only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is
So I invite you to take a moment, close your eyes if you're willing, removing our focus from the external. And as we close our eyes, we take a breath, becoming fully aware in this moment of our bodies, our thoughts, our feelings, just bringing our full attention and awareness into this holy now moment. And as the song says, in this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me, I open my eyes, my spiritual eyes, and see. Truly see beyond the veil of fear, beyond the veil of doubt, beyond the the veil of worry. I see that there is only love. There is only love that expressed itself into being as that which I am. And there is only love that radiates through my heart and my mind and my spirit, and yes, my body. That love is the only eternal energy, vibration. That love is a healing energy. Love is attracting energy, harmonizing, connecting. So as we take this time to breathe our awareness into the energy of love, however you might perceive that, I invite you to open your spiritual eyes, your spiritual ears, your senses that feel beyond the physical, and just have the experience of that divine energy of love. However you might perceive that, allowing yourself to be one with that, claiming it, knowing it, embodying it right here and right now. And as we take a short time in the silence, I invite you to invite that energy of love to do its perfect work in your life, in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. You don't have to know how or why. You simply just surrender. Surrender into the energy of love and allow love to do its perfect work in you and through you and as you. So with this next breath, surrender. Let go and let love. Just feel all of that being released, all the heaviness, the fear, the doubt, the worry. And know that you are the radiant center of divine love right here. Truly there is only love that is eternal. Let's just sing that again together as we affirm it for ourselves.
There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is
Let us affirm that together by proclaiming, and so it is.
everything beneath the sun.
I need to take a breath. Thank you all for that. Beautiful. So it seems that one day, Eve was walking in the Garden of Eden with God. And they were communing. They were having a good conversation. You know, communing with the animals and talking with the plants and the animals and just enjoying the beauty and the wonder and the appreciation of everything in the Garden of Eden. And all of a sudden, they stopped and Eve said, well, God, I don't mean to sound ungrateful, because this is such a beautiful place that you created here. But you know, it gets a little lonely sometimes. And I'd really like to have someone to share this beauty with. So God said, okay, well, I will create someone to be with you. I will create Adam. And he'll be a little bit, maybe a little taller, maybe a little bit stronger, so he can help you do things and be your helpmate. And she said, that sounds great. And God said, but there's just one thing you have to know. She said, he will have a big ego. So he will have to believe that he came first. So, cute joke, right? But I thought about it. It came to me again as I was pondering this week and pondering what to talk about. And what came to me was the story, that story in Genesis. The creation story that we have, the creation stories, actually, that we have in Genesis. There's someone's attempt to understand how we came to be. And not only how we came to be, but then how did the suffering and the work and all the stuff that we experience as humans come about as well? It's beautifully captured in that. And as I've heard, I don't remember exactly the first time I heard it, and someone may remember, but the idea that this may not be the way it happened, but it's true. Right? It may not be what actually happened, but there's some great truth in it. Just like all myths, all stories, parables, there's truth in those stories. And I love that story because it is so rich with truth, I think. It may have been misinterpreted and used in ways that have benefited some and harmed others. But when we look at it from a more metaphysical perspective, it's a beautiful story. Because I believe what it's saying to us, and let me preface this by saying that I think all myths, all parables, stories, speak to us wherever we are. You know, if I am here today and it says something different to me than it might have said to me a year ago, or it might say something to me different a year from now than it's saying to me today. Because we reinterpret according to our own process and our own understanding, right? Everything. So in alignment with our theme this month of love and living out loud and living love out loud, that's our theme for the month. And I think in alignment with that and processing that and living in that this month, what we understand is that God, as we understand God, is love. That love is just another name for this energy, this life energy that expressed itself into being, individuated itself into being as you and as me. The story says you and I are created as the very image and likeness of God. And if God is love, then we must be love too, right? It stands to reason. If God is love, then we must be love. And we are designed, I believe. What a beautiful description of what it is for us to be remembered that we are here to live in that Garden of Eden consciousness. The consciousness of union and communion and beauty and sufficiency and abundance and trust and all the things that represents, to really live in communion with each other, yes, and with the animals and with the plants and with the sky and with everything, the water. We're supposed to live in communion with all of that. You know, it says in that story, we have given dominion. We have been given dominion. This kind of goes off track of what I thought I was going to say today, but anyway, what's coming to me is that we are to live in communion with all of it. We're to honor the water, honor the air, honor the animals, honor the plants, honor this whole creation because it's all God. Right? It's all God. And when we are living in that consciousness of love and union, when we know that we are created as the image likeness, when we know that we are God in form, how else could we live, right? How else would we live? But then, you know, the story goes on and it says that God said that they should not eat of this certain fruit, the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But being humans, we're tempted, right? Don't tell us not to do something. We're probably going to do it. But what does that represent for you and me? Well, free will can be a gift and it can be a curse, right? We get to choose. We always have our choice. But what I believe the story is trying to convey to us, or convey to me today, is that if there's any thought that arises that questions my unity, my oneness with God, with love, then I began to doubt and worry and fear, and I began to look to something outside of myself to make me feel better. When I have a thought that somehow, some way, I can be separate from God. Because I think that's what the tree really represents, is the thought of duality, the thought of separation. And what God says, you know, in the story, it's like, well, God punishes them for doing that. And we'll get to that, but the idea, I think, is that love says to us, don't go there. Love says to us, don't go into that place of judgment. Don't go into those thoughts of separation and fear. Don't do that, because guess what? That's when you suffer. That's when you suffer. And that's when you begin to believe that you have to work hard, that life is meant to be painful, that life is meant to be a struggle in some way. That's where the ideas of competition and criticism, that's where the ideas it's like this idea that we have to have something on the outer in order to make us feel God enough, good enough, whole enough. Rather than remembering that that's who we are. And I don't think it takes much for us to recognize, you know, even in the story of Cain and Abel and their battles and their struggles, what was it about? So possessions, power. so important. When we think there's that can give us anything, that the world has anything that can really give us what we seek. And we want to blame God. We want to say, well, God punished Adam and Eve. Well, God didn't punish Adam and Eve. God doesn't punish us. God doesn't punish us. God doesn't judge us. There is no judgment in love. There is no fear in love. And only fear can judge. So God does not judge you and me. We do a very good job of doing that for ourselves. And we do it, and we are the ones who separate ourselves from the consciousness of the garden. We are the ones. It's not God. I love what Voltaire said. God created man in his own image. And man has been trying to repay the favor ever since. We try to make God in our image. That God is judging. God is criticizing. God is blaming. It's not God. I used to grow up in the Baptist church, and I believe that God was judging me. Jesus was judging me. Guess what? It wasn't Jesus. It wasn't God. It was the other people. And that's what cast us out of the garden. So what if there is only love? What if there is only love? What if God is only love? What if at the very core of our being, there is that, I don't know, love-shaped soul that is always calling us back home. Always calling us back to the garden. Come home. Come home. It's a great song from my Baptist tradition. Softly and tenderly, love is now calling to you and to me. Love is the answer to all you are seeking. Open your heart and you'll see. Come home, come home. You who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, love is now calling all children, come home. So that love is always calling us. But how do we get there? Well, Jesus reminds us in A Course in Miracles that it's really just a matter of perception. It's just a matter of perception. How are we choosing to see? How are we choosing to interpret what happens in our lives? Got a little lesson here. When something happens in our lives, we have the choice of fear or love. So can I see the world through fear? Can I see that what happens, do I choose to see through the veil of fear? When something happens in my life, am I going to say, oh, well, that's proof that God is punishing me. Oh, that's proof that I'm not good enough. Oh, that's proof that someone is out to get me. That's proof that the universe is not kind. However I want to interpret that, that's proof that I'm alone and separate and have to work hard and have to struggle and have to go through pain and suffering. And I see the world through that lens. Or I can choose to put on the lens of love. Right? And I can see through the eyes of love. And say, this happened in my life. Wow, I don't like it. It feels kind of yucky. It feels painful. But can see that that which happens in my life is simply calling me back to love. Calling me to a place where I remember where I'm not loving myself, or where I'm not loving someone else, or where I'm not being loved. I think the Course says if something is missing, it's because you're not giving it. Something is missing in your life, if something is missing in your relationship, if something is missing, it's because I am not giving it. And so how do I see the world? Am I choosing to see the world through fear? Through the eyes of fear? Through the eyes of love? Now, what I want to say too is that it's not about just putting on rose-colored glasses and pretending that everything is okay. I'm not saying that. I think sometimes we get the idea that we're just supposed to say, oh, it's good. I'm just seeing it as all good. Well, it's not always good. It's not always good. We can find good in it, and that's our challenge in a way sometimes, but it's not all good. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes life hurts. And it's not about ignoring that, but it's about feeling it, moving through it, calling on the power of love to help us see it differently. That's what the Course says. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes when someone is in your life that has stimulated great pain for you, it's sometimes hard to see love, isn't it? But again, what I want to remind us is, whatever you want to call it, whatever works for you, I want to remind us that love is always there, calling us back to love. Call upon love. Call upon Jesus. Call upon the Holy Spirit. Call upon Buddha. Call upon Allah. Call upon the higher self. Call upon whatever it is that you associate with that divine love that's radiating through you to say, help me. Help me see it a different way. Help me see this person as innocent. Help me see myself as innocent when I can't. You know, I think that's important for us to recognize that we're not alone. We may feel like we're alone at times. But call upon the power of love. And keep calling on the power of love until you get there. It would be great if it was just a one-time, like, okay, one and done. I'm done. But it's not always that easy. Sometimes it takes processing, moving through, calling on love, inviting love to clear away the other stuff, so that there is a clear connection. And the other thing I want to say, do I want to go there? See things in the world, right? Things that are happening in the world, and we think, that doesn't look like love to me. How can that be love? I don't know why I got into it, but I did. I started watching this show called Hunters. Has anybody watched this show called Hunters? Well, don't, okay? Now you will, right? What is it all about?
Yeah, don't tell me that.
It's about a group of people in New York, in the 1970s who are hunting Nazis who have been brought to the United States after the war. And, oh man, it really brings home the atrocities of the Holocaust in a very visceral way, and many times. And that, and we see slavery that happened in the United States, and how we treated people and enslaved people, and how can that be love? And what I want to, I don't know the answer to that. What I want to say about that is that there is only the power of love that is eternal. But we have choice. You and I always have choice. To acknowledge that love, to align to that love, to live that love, or to ignore it. To choose something different. To ignore our connection with each other. To truly live behind the veil of fear. And to see others as being against us. That's what is born from that sense of separation. Those atrocities are born because we believe we're separate. And it is our opportunity to turn on the light. Because there is only love and there is a relative absence of love. Just like there is only light, there's only darkness is the relative absence of light. And we turn on the light and we dissipate the darkness. That hate and fear and disregard for other human beings in the world around us is born from that kind of darkness, spiritual darkness, I believe. Believing we're separate, believing we have to struggle, believing we have to fight for resources, land, power, money, whatever it is, out there. There's something out there. There's something out there that's against me. Or there's something out there that's going to make me feel more whole, more good, more God. Something out there. Whether it's land or money or oil or whatever that might be. Power. It's power. But when we have become aware of that, our opportunity is to always return to love. When we see things that are going on in the world, it's not about putting on rose-colored glasses and trying to see it as good. It's about surrendering to love. Inviting love to help me see it a different way. Because only then can you and I be a force for love. Only then can you and I act and speak and stand for love. Right? So when we see those things that look like suffering and pain and abuse and all the things that we see in the world, it is easy for us to get into fear. Oh man, I know it's easy to get into fear and judgment. And that may be our first reaction. I will own it. It's mine very often, my first reaction. And sometimes it takes a lot for me to get back to love. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't always get there. I don't always get there. But I believe it's possible. I believe when we find ourselves outside that garden of unity and oneness and wholeness and beauty and hope and faith and all of the ideas that we associate with the divine, that is our responsibility, it is our duty for all humankind, for all creation, to do whatever we can to get back to love. Because that is the only hope. That is the only power. That is the only way that we will ever create a world that works for everyone. Yeah. Whatever it takes. And it does sometimes take prayer, meditation, spiritual reading, working with your practitioners who are there to remind you of your truth. The truth that you are love incarnate. You are love incarnate. And we are here to be that love in the world. Yeah? Whatever it takes. So again, love is not. Love would never judge you. Love would never condemn you. Love would never cast you out. Love is always calling home to itself, to the garden. Where love truly is all there is. So when we say there's only love, do we really believe it? Do we trust it? And are we willing to return there? Yeah, so let's take a moment, close our eyes. And surrender to love. Take a moment and just allow yourself to bring to mind any situation, any person, any circumstance that you have even the slightest criticism or judgment about before. And see if you can ask that within you, the Holy Spirit, the Christ, the true light, the Buddha nature, the higher self, to help you, to surrender to love, to help you see it a different way, to let go of your fear, and to simply love. Feel that love radiating from your heart. And breathe that person or situation into this field of love. If you're willing, and only if you're willing and ready, don't force it, just allow it. Know that love heals you. Love heals the relationship. Love heals the situation. Love is a powerful energy. Only love is real. As Carol King says, everything else is illusion. Only love is real. Everything else is illusion. Adding to the confusion of the ways how we try to just stay alive and struggle. But let's surrender to love. Allowing love to lead us, to guide us, to be our inspiration. And to know that everything is here when we are really willing and ready to allow it to call us back to love. Everything. Everything is here. The Spirit is here, calling us into remembrance of itself.
There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is
And so it is. Thank you. So now's the time when we have the opportunity to give, to share. Let that love flow through our gifts and offerings this morning. So we invite our ushers to come forward as we begin to receive our offering this morning. So I invite you to stop for a moment, breathe in, feel that love and light, knowing that everything is an expression of love. All these gifts and offerings this morning are expressions of that divine love. Nothing is unlike love. When we open our hearts and open our minds to give, we know that we are blessed in the giving, we are blessed in the receiving, and we are so grateful. We are so blessed. And let's claim together, and so it is.
All the money that the world could hold, mountains made of solid gold, riches led by my dreams. You are better than all these
So I want to share something with you that we have a very special event happening this week. We have a very special birthday coming up on Tuesday. Clyde Oxborough has, well, how old are you? No. What's your age? 95. 95. And I am fairly new to this community. And so I have not had the privilege of getting to know Dorothy and Clyde all that well yet, but I've heard some things this week about their contributions to what this community is today, from a very start in many ways of this community. I heard that Clyde was a truck driver. He would rent a truck on Sunday morning and pick up chairs and bring them to wherever the church was meeting and help set up in the early days. And they came in and they immediately started volunteering on the board, and Dorothy would make coffee and do all sorts of things, right, for this church, this community, many years ago. And you see, if you're here, you see them here every Sunday. Every Sunday, you're here to support this community. And I don't know how we can ever really express our sincerest gratitude for your love and your support and all that you have given and continue to give to this community. So we celebrate you, and especially celebrate you, Clyde, on your birthday, wishing you many happy returns. Celebrate who you are, what you are, and all that you give, and this your beautiful bride here. We celebrate you, Dorothy, for all that you continue to give. I mean, I'm just amazed at the light and the energy that you bring when you walk in the door. And so thank you for that. And so let's all say thank you to Clyde. And we know that will continue for many years to come. So thank you for that. So let's sing happy birthday. Can we?
Yes.
All right. Let's stand up if you're willing and able.
Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Clyde. Happy birthday to
And now while you're standing, please take a breath as we bless this offering this morning. Truly allow yourself to feel that love, that life, that energy moving in you, through you, as you know that you are a blessing, and know that you receive from the source, and you give as the source. And we are blessed, so blessed by these gifts and offerings today. We share them generously. We receive them joyously. And we allow it to be, and together we say, and so it is.
Blessing always, blessing always, holy hearts of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in silence.
Blessings to you all. Go out and share your love. Live love out loud this week. Ask your holy self how you can be more loved today and go out and do it. So blessings to you all this week. Thank you.